Alright, quick update on Ape. So, we're really not looking too good today. We're down 17% as of the time of recording this. Absolutely brutal. You can see Bitcoin is down 8% as well, and I'm going to talk about what's going on in Bitcoin in correlation to Ape in a second, but this is the chart that we were previously running off for Ape. We had a lot of support lines, we had a lot of Fibonacci's to potentially come down to, and we've taken everything out. The fact of the matter is, analysis doesn't need to be overcomplicated. We can simply remove every drawing that was ever on this chart and just truly appreciate that this is your low. This is the only level that we have left, and this is, coming in. I zoomed in on this earlier. It was 928. It's saying 926 on my screen, but yeah, you can see 928, 930. We're moving down. We've broken below this low, or we've temporarily broken below this low, should I say. Let me mark it with a horizontal ray where it's coming in. There we go, that's good enough. I'll mark it red as resistance, even though we're currently sitting on it. So there's a few things that I want to run through, and the number one important thing is, like, obviously we're having bearish momentum. The squeeze mom is moving down to the downside very heavily. If we look on the 4 hour, the bearish momentum only just started to recently subside as we came into this touch point. But as you can see, as we've broken below it now, bearish momentum is back. We've taken out the lows. What I really want to talk about in this video is the volume and the moving averages, and we're going to start off on the volume. So looking at this I'm actually going to go back a few steps to where we had the previous chart, and then we'll probably just keep this chart running. But if we look at what we previously had going on ApeCoin, you can see we had a ton of touch points, and this was the most macro trend that we were running off at the moment in time on ApeCoin. That was 2 days ago. Now, what's happened in the past 2 days is we've broken below it, and we've got an even more bearish candle coming in today. We've got a huge bearish engulfing candle to the downside. And what's interesting about this is, volume predicts price. I'm sure you've heard that before. But what's interesting is if you're in a downtrend and volume, starts to decrease. So for example, if we're dropping and selling volumes going like this, and it's tapping out, we're running out of volume to sell, it would be a completely different story, and we could talk about a bottom potentially being near, but we're seeing the opposite. If we look at this on the daily, since we've started breaking down, you can see, boom, we've got a huge influx of selling volume. And I'm going to go into the Bitcoin chart in a minute and talk about how this correlates to ApeCoin, because it's very ugly right now, and we definitely need to talk about it. So I'm gonna talk about the momentum indicators. On the 1 hourly time frame, we're really pushing down. Like, we've literally lost all hope of bullish momentum at this moment in time. It's turning up very harsh. You can see on the 1 hourly time frames, huge selling volume is coming in. The volume is the number one important thing that we need to pay attention to on this price. I almost feel like I said, we can just remove every single drawing, and at this moment in time, all we need to worry about is this low, the volume, and then your moving averages. Because I say this in my altcoin videos, when you're in a bearish trend, the trend is your friend until the end. Until we hop above these EMA ribbons, there's really nothing to be bullish on for Ape whatsoever. I would be very cautious if you do plan on DCAing Ape at this level, if you do plan on picking up at this level. And like I said, if the volume was decreasing, it'd be a different story. But the fact of the matter is, look what's been going on in the past 4, 8, 12, in the past 16 hours. We've been dropping faster and faster. Every 4 hourly candle that comes in, it gets more and more bearish to the downside. And what do you notice with the volume? The volume is getting more and more exponential. The momentum indicators are pushing further and further down. So in my opinion, the drop is not done. And it kind of supports that on a few different charts, and this is where I'm going to talk about how Bitcoin correlates to what's going on in ApeCoin. So there's a few charts I want to show you on Bitcoin which correlate. Number one, let's look at the Bitcoin volume, because the Bitcoin volume is, once again, just like Ape, this is exponentially increasing. In fact, the volume on Bitcoin looks much worse than Ape. Ape is holding up relatively well. I mean, obviously Ape is down almost 18% as of the time of recording this. Bitcoin is down about 9%, but still, considering Ape is just some kind of, yeah, I mean, meme coin pretty well defines it. It's more of like an NFT community coin, but let's be honest. I mean, there isn't a plethora of utility. It doesn't have a plethora of bullish fundamentals. It's not like it's built on anything other than of a JPEG of a monkey. So let's keep it real here. This is really a meme coin. Nonetheless, you can argue it has some very, very small utility. And I would somewhat agree with that, but does the market cap justify what this is? Absolutely not. This is really a meme coin. It's a joke coin, and you know, it is plummeting, and considering it's only down 19% when Bitcoin is down 9% is quite impressive. But look at the volume on Bitcoin. Bitcoin is making new lows. Literally, as I started recording this video, before I recorded this, we were still holding these lows, and now we've literally made new lows in this video. The volume is exponentially increasing for Bitcoin. Everything is heading down, and if we head over to our macro Bitcoin chart, look at this. This is a huge, huge pattern. This has been going on for years. I mean, December 20. So, you know, I'm gassing it a little bit. It hasn't really been 2 years, but it's coming on for, you know, a year and 4 months, no, it must be a year and 6 months now, a year and 5 months. It doesn't matter on the exact time frame. The point of the matter is, this is a huge, huge pattern, and we've broken below this very important range. And it's not only this that I'm that worried about, it's the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves. You've probably seen tons of these logarithmic growth curves if you subscribe to people like Ben Cohen, or even if you've just watched my previous videos. I love the Bitcoin logarithmic growth curves. Historically, obviously they get adjusted after each cycle, but the logarithmic growth curves perfectly define these peaks and troughs that we have in the market, and we always come down to the lows. You can see the first bear market, we came right back down to 1 deviation oversold. Second bear market came right down to 1 deviation oversold. Third bear market, before it was fully completed, 1 deviation oversold. And then I would still argue that this whole phase is one bear market, but you can see I call this a mini bear market, and I'll call this a mini bear market just for the sake of making this video easier and explaining. But you can see in this mini bear market, we broke below 1 deviation oversold. We really haven't seen anything like this since this period in time here. And what do you see that's going on right now? Well, this chart hasn't actually updated, but you can see 1 deviation oversold comes into 32,600. You can see this price was actually updated yesterday, when the price was 34,000. And once again, just take a good cold look. 1 deviation oversold is 32,600. The Bitcoin price is at 31,000. So how does this correlate to ApeCoin? You might be wondering, why has this guy gone off on a tangent about Bitcoin? We don't care about Bitcoin, we only care about ApeCoin. Well, the fact of the matter is, ApeCoin is going to follow Bitcoin. What do you see on the ApeCoin momentum charts? You see it heading down after resetting. What do you see on the volume charts for ApeCoin? It is exponentially increasing with every hour. What do we see on Bitcoin? We see the exact same thing. These charts follow each other. A lot of people seem to disagree. I think a lot of retail traders have not overlapped charts before and seen that these altcoins follow Bitcoin to the teeth. The fact of the matter is, Bitcoin is dropping like a rock with crazy, crazy volume that we have just not seen before. And ApeCoin is doing the exact same thing. So I would not expect ApeCoin to be a market outlier. I would not necessarily try and catch the falling knife on this. And you can kind of argue that that is somewhat a tiny bit hypocritical, because I did pick up a small DCA order. I can't remember whether it was around the $12, $13, something like that. I think it was 13. I recently DCA'd at 13 after we sold at 23.70. I don't have the exact price anymore as I reset the chart, because like I said, everything to the upside is invalidated, it's gone. But I would not be looking at picking up any more ApeCoin. I really only picked up Ape with profits that I've already made from my initial trade riding Ape, from all the way from $7 we got out at 13, we got back in at 13, and then we got in, or we sold at 23.70. So it's not looking good. You know, my bags are really where I'm not going to complete that sentence. I just realized what I was about to say. But my money is where my mouth is. And Bitcoin is heading down exponentially. I think now is the best time, around the $30,000 to $29,000 region is where I really plan on stepping up my Bitcoin buys. But if Bitcoin's going to keep dropping, I don't expect Ape to be an outlier. So where do I think Ape's going? like I said, the whole chart is invalidated. I can't draw any more fibs. There's no more trend lines that say we'd be going down to any regions. We can really only run off micro fibs, and I feel like it'd be somewhat degenerative, but the 2.618 lines up pretty perfectly with these lows down here. So I'd say your 2.618 fib and your utmost low down here, it seems like it's coming in at 734, but let me adjust it. So right here, this green box has to hold, otherwise ApeCoin is going to enter price discovery to the downside. So I do expect that we are going to keep breaking down. It really looks like we're pushing below this. Bitcoin's breaking down at the moment of recording this. I expect ApeCoin to move down at least another 14%. Would I be surprised if ApeCoin moved down another 21%? No. In fact, I know it sounds very sad, but I do think ApeCoin is going to move down another 21%. I almost feel like it's more likely we're going to move down and break below the lows than it is that we're going to come down to $8 and then bounce. So I'm just reading the charts how it is. I'm looking at this very objectively. I'm leaving my emotions at the door, because emotionally trading doesn't help anyone. You know, like I said, putting emotions out of the picture, looking at this very objectively, looking at the data like a robot and just looking at it how it is, it does not look good. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. ApeCoin looks really terrible right now, and I'm sure a lot of moon boys, I don't know, I don't really watch other YouTubers, so I don't really keep up with the moon boys anymore, but I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of moon boys that are saying, you know, ape to the moon now, ape to $100, ape to sweep the lows and then new all-time highs. But I don't see it. All I see is bearish momentum right now. Lower time frames are absolutely disgusting, and even higher time frames are really horrible. The 4 hour is just a stair step. We are just accumulating so much bearish momentum. I'd keep an eye on the 4 hour. I will be the first to update you when ApeCoin does have a market reversal, but we'd need to at least break above $13.50 before I'd even be remotely bullish on this. And like I said, I don't think people should be getting ready to trade this right now. I don't think people should be leveraging. I don't think people should be buying. That's just my opinion. Everything looks very shaky at this moment in time, and I think Bitcoin is unfortunately going to come down to this next trend line at 29,000. What does that mean for ApeCoin? Probably price discovery to the downside, if not sweeping the lows, because like I said, Bitcoin has, in my opinion, another 7% to move to the downside. I don't think that a 20% drop is going to take the cake on ApeCoin, because, you know, well, I mean, it could, because Bitcoin only needs to move down another 7%, and, you know, it's moved down 8% today, and Ape's down 18%, so it might line up perfectly. I feel like that's a little bit too much hopium. I feel like we are going to break down below the lows. That is just my opinion. I will keep you updated on ApeCoin though, but this 4 hourly momentum is not looking good. That is all I've got for you today. I am expecting Ape to move down to $7.34. I will update you what happens either way, probably coming in tomorrow. All I've got for you today, cowboy out, not financial advice. Best of luck in these markets. Very, very shaky times. This is the time where the diamond hands are going to be separated from the paper hands. Where do you want to go down in history? I want to go down as a diamond hand. All I've got for you today, cowboy out. Peace.